All right, cool.
And rolling.
Perfect. Well, welcome to the inaugural broadcast of Miltrick Media. I am your host, Miltrick, and we're going to be diving into pertinent stories and developments happening in the music industry that can help other independent musicians, producers, and creators just like myself. I studied at SUNY Oneonta and got a degree in music industry. For the last few years, I've always loved diving into different developments, articles, and news, what's been happening in the industry to try and help me progress as an artist, as a musician, and to just keep the ball rolling and to keep learning new topics. Diving right in, a great new report came out. The RIAA, the Recording Industry Association of America, came out with the mid-year 2021 report. And it's all great news. It's positive. Growth is in the double digits again, which continues a trend that started in 2015 when streaming really became the dominant force in the music industry. In this new report, it stated that recorded music revenues across the board has grown 27%. That's astronomical. That's fast. That's amazing. And that's great for everyone around, the labels, independent artists, producers. Because of after last year, of course, growth was affected because of what happened last year. It was a very tumultuous year, but we're back in full swing, especially now with live coming back, tours coming back more than ever. It's a great time for the industry. According to this article, what came out in this mid-year report, compared to mid-year of 2020, recorded music revenues were up 27%. And streaming is leading the way. Streaming has led the way. It's mostly nearly 80% of the revenue. And in total, the revenues are up to $7.1 billion in retail value. So paid subscriptions have continued to be the strongest contributor to the growth in the industry, thanks to services like Spotify and Apple Music. Spotify does lead the way with the most paid subscribers, and it is the most popular streaming service, I believe, as of now, with different ones like Apple and YouTube Music leading the way down. So as wholesale revenues rise 25%, that leads to up to $3.7 billion from the first half of 2020, and it's up to $4.6 billion in the first half of 2021. Now, like I said before, streaming is leading the way. In terms of the whole piece of the pie, streaming is making up 84% of the music industry revenues. Digital downloads account for 5%, and sync counts for 2%. Physical, still in the decline. Physical, like CD, stuff like that, is 10%. But another fascinating development is that vinyl is continuing a resurgence. Vinyl now accounts for more than CDs in terms of physical revenue. Now, going over what also was included in the IRAA report, in terms of by billions of dollars, paid subscriptions make up nearly all of the whole part of the first half of 2020. What also makes up a part of it is ad-supported on-demand audio and video. And then next is digital and customized radio services. A great part of this is that also new interactive streaming and licensing agreements through services like Facebook and Peloton, interactive streaming apps, that's also making major headway in the industry, which can help labels, which can help different independent artists, because that could be more ways for your music to be licensed. And this is great. It's not just for the labels, but it's also for people like us, because now with the technology and e-commerce trends even happening, there's more and more opportunities to get your music out there and to advertise it. And that's the best part about it. And even what's going on moving forward, once live venues come back, and even once sales and stores open up again, who knows, maybe CDs will make a resurgence and cassettes again, just like vinyl. They've already been out and about, people still buy them, but maybe it'll lead to even more. Who knows? But moving on, what I also wanted to talk about, this is what happened with me when I first started. I first started investing in a home studio about 4 years ago. I was 19, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I started off small, and it took me a while to build it up. I wanted to go over how independent musicians can start a budget home studio from anywhere between $500 up to $2,500. When I first started investing in home studio equipment, I've invested a total of about $2,500 to $3,000, but you don't even have to spend that much. But I think it's a great thing to have your own home studio because you get to become self-sufficient. You get to eliminate the barriers of entry, and you get to create and record whenever you want. And it makes it easier for you to get tracks out, to produce, and just keep that flow going. So what I wanted to go over was the equipment that I use and what could help you start your own home studio. First off, you will need a laptop of some kind. You get an HP laptop, MacBook, and then you will need an audio interface. So what I first started off with was a PreSonus Audio Box USB 2x2 audio interface. This was a great one that I started off with. I brought it to different people's houses when I was producing. I brought it on the road, in the car, even when I went back to school or whatever. It was a $100 audio USB interface. 2 inputs. You could plug DI directly with guitar, bass, and you can even plug in with your microphone. 2 gain settings, headphone knob, and even volume knob. And then what you need after that is you would need a DAW, of course. Now, I use Logic mostly exclusively now. I also used to use Pro Tools. I would recommend Logic for starting off. You could use whatever you want. Logic, though, has a lot of great software instruments. $200 of the investment, and they're always coming out with upgrades, which why I love them. I love their software instruments, and they're great for people just starting out. So besides the audio box, you need that interface. You need a DAW that you gotta choose. You need your laptop. And next, let's move on to microphones. Now, I don't know about you. When I started off with trying to buy microphones, it was very, very confusing. And I was overthinking. I was getting crazy, fatigued. Like, I don't know what to do next. What do I get? Should I invest like $1,000? Should I invest a couple of hundred? The first one I bought for myself was a Shure SM57 dynamic microphone. It's one of the best microphones out there. It's $100, a true industry workhorse, and it's been used on so many productions. You could use it for vocals. You could use it for mostly guitars too, though. Plug it up to amps, for bass, whatever you want. It's really a great mic to start off with, and it's only $100. That's a dynamic microphone, though, and the difference between that and a condenser mic is more traditionally used for vocals. It's a little more money, and the microphone I started off with using was the AKG C214. It's a great condenser microphone. I got it for $300, and I still use it to this day, 4 years later. It's a great mic to start off with, and you could even find cheaper options. Another great option I would recommend is the Audio-Technica 8T 2020. That, I believe, goes for retail between $100 to $150, and that is a fantastic microphone. I've had so many friends use it. I know a lot of people at home studios that use it, and that is a great way to get the ball rolling. Moving on from that, you don't have to worry too much about plugins, because once you're in your DAW like Logic or Pro Tools, there's so many great stock plugins that you could just start getting with use. You could start using like with EQ, compression, and stuff like that. Now, moving on to monitors. You could do everything if you want in your headphones. You know, sometimes when you're in your home studio, it's not as advantageous as, let's say, being in a acoustically treated room. But like me and you, we're always just trying to create stuff, and sometimes it's not as easy to get to a studio. So what I have JBL 5-inch WSH monitors. Bottom line, they're 5 inches. I got them 4 years ago, and they worked all this time. They are about $300 for a pair. 5 inches, it's perfect if you're in a small room. I work in an attic where my ceilings are sloped, it's cracked on the ceilings, and it's really not a great place to record and mix. But between that and my headphones, it helps me get the job done, and I would recommend them to whoever wants to just get started with their home studio. $300, you really can't go wrong with it. There's also other great brands like KRK, the Rocket 5s and 6 inches. Those are the black ones with the yellow cones. Those are great speakers as well. Also, Yamaha has HS 5-inch, 6-inch, and 8-inch monitors. Those are also great for the independent artists just starting out. So once you get your home studio up, what I wanted to move on to was releasing songs and getting them registered. How do you release music if you're on your own with no label? What are the steps you have to go through, and how do you get it out there? Well, basically, when I was first starting out, I first used an artist service called CD Baby when I was 17. I was in high school. We were playing shows around Staten Island, and we didn't know what to do. We were like, how do we get our music on iTunes? How do we do any of this? Do we need a label? Can we just do it on our own? Can we do it through our phones? We just wanted to get our music on iTunes. So in 2015, I found this service called CD Baby. So CD Baby is one of many now what they call digital distribution services out there, where you use this service, and they get your music on all major services like Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, Tidal, whatever you want, they act as a distributor and they get your music on there. Of course, this costs some money. There's some fees. Both could be upfront, and also some charge a yearly subscription. We'll get into this later. But CD Baby was the first I used. So the broad umbrella term what we're talking about now is digital music distribution services. I've used CD Baby in the past. Other services include Ditto Music. You also have DistroKid, which I use currently. You have AWOL, which is an independent label. They're also a distributor. You have United Masters, I believe. But mostly the biggest ones are CD Baby, TuneCore, DistroKid, and Ditto. I currently use DistroKid. The cool thing about DistroKid is instead of having to pay per release, I pay $20 a year. It's unlimited uploads, which means you get to upload as many albums per year as you want, or you get to upload as many songs as you want through DistroKid, and you only pay $20 a year. Signing up for these artist services is really easy and seamless. You just go through their website, you may have to put up a credit card, put some information in, and boom, you're good to go. They will get your music on all major services. And I really recommend them to anyone who just wants to get the music out. I know it may seem like it's a lot harder than it is, but it's not. You can become your own label by simply just using these services to get it out there. And like I said, you get it on every service you need. Spotify, Apple Music, you're on the service just like all the other major players. Now moving on, once you get your music out there, it's not enough. You need to then register your music with performance rights organizations. Performance rights organizations are services that collect royalties on behalf of you, which then distribute to you. Because you as a songwriter, you are entitled to royalties, performance royalties, once these songs are played in any public setting, including streaming services. You get paid a royalty for that public performance because even though it's digital, that is considered a public performance. So PROs are performance rights organizations. The two main ones in the United States that are open to independent artists and producers like me and you are ASCAP and BMI. There's also another service called CSAC, but that is invite only. And the fourth one, I believe, is Create Music Group. CSAC is invite only, so therefore ASCAP and BMI are the two most well-known. I am currently signed up for ASCAP. Both ASCAP and BMI are fantastic services. ASCAP has been around since 1914, and BMI has been around since 1939. BMI stands for, I forgot the last moment, so might as well just move on. But they've been around for nearly hundreds of years, and they service artists and songwriters in both ways. Great companies. I signed up for ASCAP. And in terms of signing up, the both registration fees are a little different. So when it comes to ASCAP, you could sign up for a $100 fee, both as a writer and a publisher, or you could do one at a time. There is a $50 fee to sign up with ASCAP as a writer, and a $50 fee to sign up separately as a publisher. When it comes to BMI, it is a $0 fee to sign up as just a writer. However, if you would like to sign up as a publisher, if you are the only person in your business, you could sign up for a $150 fee. But if you also sign up as a person, if you're a company with multiple people in that company, it will be a $250 fee. So I would recommend doing your own due diligence to choose which one you want to sign up for because they're both great companies. They both have great resources for songwriters. And bottom line, there's also different representatives that work at these companies. And I would recommend making use of that, calling them, asking them questions. Also, both of them have different schedules. They have different calendars of events. They have great industry events and different resources for you. You might as well use it. So call them up and see what happens. So once you sign up for a PRO, that gives you the writer's share of the royalty. Now, besides that, you also have publishing. So in terms of the publishing part of your songs in the music industry, you can sign up with a publisher. But just starting out, you're not going to maybe have as many connections. I definitely don't. So you have to take care of your own publishing in terms of registration. You can create your own publishing company and sign up for these services as well, being a publisher. Let's say you make up your XYZ name, XYZ Publishing, and you create an LLC. Then they will give you that extra 50% share of the publishing income. Or if you want to just try and have that settled for you and you don't want to go through the tedious process of trying to just get your songs registered with different international societies, this is of course up to you, but you could use a publishing administration service like SongTrust. SongTrust is a service I use and they are a publishing administrator. So basically, they collect the publishing end of the royalties for you and they get royalties from a service like Harry Fox Agency. So once you sign up for a service like SongTrust, they collect the publishing on your behalf. Because when it comes to royalties for your songs and music, there's two parts of it. You have 50% of the writer's share and you have 50% of the publishing share. And all the major artists, even small artists, this is always allocated to you. You need to sign up and register because then you'll get these services. If not, you're leaving some money on the table. So bottom line, when you use a company like SongTrust, what you do is you sign up, you register your songs. And all they do is you keep 100% of the ownership, but they take 15% off the top. So let's say you generated $1,000 in the publishing income for one of your songs. They would just take $150 off the top because they just take 15. They sign up with different domestic and international societies for you, but you get to keep ownership, which is great. And talking about the publishing income, they collect a chunk of that royalty from what's called the Harry Fox Agency. So the Harry Fox Agency is a huge provider of mechanical royalties. That is a royalty that is paid out to the songwriters for, of course, the performance of the song. That's another part of it. It's part of the publishing royalty, that piece of the pie. The Harry Fox Agency is a provider of rights management and collects and distributes mechanical licenses on behalf of music publishers all across the United States, also known as FHA. They were founded in 1927, and when you sign up for a service like SongTrust, it even says it in the breakdown in your statements. They're collecting the mechanical royalty from the Harry Fox Agency. What they provide, what the Harry Fox Agency provides, it issues mechanical licenses, it collects and distributes mechanical royalties, conducts royalty examinations, pursues piracy claims, and it also offers rights management solutions. So it is really, sometimes it's a lot at first. It led me to overthink and it got me in a whirlwind. Like, how do you get all this signed up? How do you do that? But it's a necessity if you want to try and get all that you deserve in terms of putting your music and distributing it out there. Last but not least, in terms of song distribution and how to collect that piece of the pie that you're owed for your music being out on services, Sound Exchange. Now, Sound Exchange is a digital rights management platform that collects another royalty. It collects a royalty based on when you put it out there on what's it called? When you put music out on Spotify, all these different services, they give you another piece of the royalty. It's for the master recording. So if you're a record label and you own recordings, you get that master recording royalty. Or if you're an independent artist, you collect that. So basically, in order to get all the royalties you're owed to, being an independent songwriter, you need to sign up with a PRO, ASCAP or BMI. You need to be your own publisher or sign up for a publishing administration company like Songtrust. And you also need to sign up for Sound Exchange. There's 3 of them. You need to be signed up for all 3 in order to collect everything all at once, because that is all money you're leaving on the table, and that's how you get all the royalties allocated to you. I know sometimes it's really confusing, but I learned that through trial and error over the years and also going to school for it. But at first, I didn't even know what it was, and it led me through a lot of rabbit holes trying to figure out what, do I have to do this, do I have to do that, going through countless YouTube videos. But it is a necessity, and it's definitely something I recommend to start right away if you have some music out there and you haven't signed up for everything just yet. So moving on, there's some great new innovations happening in the industry. And first off, I wanted to go over some industry sources that I love reading and that over the years I've compiled myself and I go through weekly. Different websites and different industry trade magazines that I love reading myself that may help you if you're just trying to be an independent artist, getting into the business, how to learn about different facts and different statistics, just getting into the business side of it. So I want to rattle off this list. First is you got Billboard magazine. It's a music industry trade magazine. It started in the late 19th century just as a magazine for advertisements in the industry. But now, of course, you have your own magazine, and also it's a digital website. It goes over the different charts. It's the main workhorse of the industry where they have the charts, the Billboard 200 and the Hot 100. The Hot 100 is the main singles chart of the 100 top singles of the week in the industry, and Billboard 200 is the 200 top albums. After that, Billboard, you also have Hits Daily Double, which goes over industry sales, real time. Twice a week, it goes over the building album sales chart, which I love seeing the numbers in real time. It goes over the album equivalent units, which include streams, downloads, as well as physical sales. After that, you also have digital music news, TechCrunch, Music Business Worldwide, Music Ally, Forbes, Variety, Stereo Gum, Rolling Stone, Polestar, Radio Inc., NME, NPR, American Songwriter, Music Week, and Radio Inc. Now, these are some great websites that has helped me and given me so much knowledge over the years when there's different articles coming up, talking about just the business, talking about artist management tools, different digital services that helps you get your music out there and how to really just become more on the management and business side of it. Moving on from that, there's some great podcasts I dived into starting in 2020, music business podcasts that I've still been listening to this day. And some of these were mentioned in this great article I found from Variety.com. Now, Variety came out with an article a few days ago on September 16th, 13 Essential Music Industry Podcasts. And they go on a couple that I really love, and I also signed up for some of their services because I believed in them so much. So, 2 of them that they talk about that I listen to weekly is Creative Juice from Indepreneur. So Indepreneur is a music marketing agency that helps you go through different marketing agencies and different marketing campaigns. They have different great educational videos, and they go in depth with that. They also have the Music Industry Blueprint podcast with Rick Barker. That's another podcast I use. So moving on, we'll just rattle off the list. You have Broken Record, Creative Juice, Deep Cuts, Lost and Found, DIY Musician Podcast, hosted by CD Baby, the Bob Lefferts Podcast, Mogul, Music Industry Blueprint with Rick Barker, like I discussed, and Rarefied Hair. You also have Slate's Hit Parade with Chris Manolfi, Song Exploder, and When Life Hands You Lemons. So all these podcasts are great for up-and-coming artists and music industry personnel if you want to get involved and just try and learn more about it. Sometimes it's a lot off the top of my head, but sometimes it's a lot off the top of my head to say, off the top of your head to say. But it's really great to learn about the industry, and they're available on Spotify, I believe SoundCloud, and Apple Music as well. So moving on, a huge talk of the town this year in the music industry has been NFTs. Cryptocurrencies has gone through a lot this year, and even it's infiltrated and become a really great part of the music, media, and entertainment industries. It's also made its way in music. So what is NFTs in music? What is an NFT? Well, basically, an NFT is a non-fungible token. So that is defined, fungible is defined as something with a set value. So non-fungible means that it doesn't have a set value. So basically, NFTs are unique collectibles. They're rare, they're unique collectibles that are in digital form, and they are one of a kind. There's been certain artists that have made a killing off this recently. They've been finding new ways to distribute their music and to give fans value and to create a rare experience. Some artists off the top of my head that have made unique experiences, and they made a lot of money off it this year, is Kings of Leon, Grimes. There's also been Steve Aoki. What was really cool about what I found out with the band Kings of Leon, they're an American rock band. I didn't even know this until it came out, but they recently came out with a new album. And basically, they offered lifetime tickets, I believe, to their shows through this NFT experience. And also, they were selling, I think, unique recordings, demos, rarities, or just the album itself through this NFT. And then after that, they were also giving some money back to industry companies affected by COVID, the live music entertainment industry. So going off that with NFTs, like I said, they made substantial revenue off that. So NFTs can be digital files. NFTs are digital files like WAV, MOV, and JPEGs. And what makes it unique is that they are limited edition items. They are one thing. In the industry so far, there's been a lot of visualizers, 10-second to 60-second unique videos that are not reproduced. And they've been sold for astounding prices. They're considered like, let's say, sports cards or collectibles. And it's really interesting. A lot of people don't have a lot of info on it yet. And it may lead to a great new source for artists as the year goes on. But another great thing is that a lot of people are getting involved. Major labels are now trying to find ways to get involved with it. A lot of major labels. Even there was an article that came out about Sony getting involved. So basically, with Sony, they came out and they went with one of the digital NFT marketplaces, because there's numerous different NFT marketplaces on. You have Nitty Getaway, Super Rare, you have Rarible, you have Crypto.com, and Block Party. So basically what they did was they partnered with this site to release and collect rarefied NFTs through their artists. So that may be a new source of revenue, and who knows where that's going to go. But that's what's really exciting about it. So let's see. Moving on, what I also wanted to talk about was mechanical royalties. So mechanical royalties, like we talked about with the Harry Fox agency, what are they? Well, mechanical royalties are payments to the songwriter whenever that song is reproduced in some form. So every song has two copyrights attached to it. One is for the song written down itself, the composition, and the other is for the sound recording. So songwriters earn royalties on the composition copyright, and performing artists earn royalties on the recording copyright. So if you are the songwriter and you're also the recording artist, you get both of that in the same punch. You kill two birds with one stone, and you get that. So it's cool to know about the royalties, and it's important. So basically, when you are the song recording owner and the songwriter, you get that, and it pays out from Harry Fox Agency, and that's why you need to be involved with the publisher. Moving on, intellectual property in music. Intellectual property in music is the real estate or personal property in the music industry. It's treated just like real estate, and it's just as lucrative and prestigious as that. Once you create an idea and it's put in some fixed form, let's say written or recorded, you as the author instantaneously become the sole owner of the copyrights according to the copyright law. This includes the exclusive rights to distribute, perform, reproduce, or create any derivative work. You have the sole right, according to law, to do that. So let's say you want to create a cover song of a huge Beatles hit. You want to create a cover. You have to get permission from the rights owner. You have to get permission from the songwriter. So you cannot just put it out there without going through that process first, because then that could lead to legal action. The copyright duration for a song lasts for the life of author plus 70 years. So if you're the songwriter and the duration of your life, let's say you died in 2020, then the copyright law, it would cover you to 70 years after the owner became deceased. That was recently put into effect in 1976. After January 1st, 1976, that's when copyright law changed. Before that, it wasn't life of author plus 70 years. But that is the most recent copyright law umbrella that we are under right now. It's amazing how it lasts for that long. That means your song is protected. Let's say you live until 2090. You come out with a song in the 2021. That means until 2160. that your song will be protected under copyright law. Unless, of course, there's new provisions that come into a play or stuff changes. But I always just found that fascinating, learning about the law part of it, the music business part. Because I love just creating music. If I could, I would just focus on that. I love just creating, playing guitar, producing, and mixing. But learning about this other stuff gives you a leg up as well. And it's great to just talk about. Statute of limitations in music industry copyright law, going off of that. So in terms of statute of limitations, what it is there's a certain period where that's protected and how you could take action just in case your rights were infringed upon. So when it comes to copyright law in the music industry, there is a statute of limitations, meaning you have a certain window of time to sue for infringement if you found that someone infringed on your work. You have 3 years from the initial date of infringement to bring any legal action, and any delay in beginning this process can harm you. Let's say there was an infringement on January 1st, 2022. You have until January 1st, 2025 to bring suit against any infringement. Let's say someone copied your song, someone stole your song, and it was a protected copyright work. You have 3 years to bring suit. If it's outside that window, then it could just be thrown out the window because you waited too long. And another great new topic in music is synchronization. Now, I just started learning this again. I got into a great course from someone named Michael Elsner. I went up for the Sync Ready Challenge. It was a 7-day challenge where it talks about how to get your songs ready for synchronization. How do you get your songs in TV, film, and commercials? And how can you generate this revenue? Because synchronizations, even talked about in the IRAA report, it's making up now nearly 2% of the total music industry revenue, that whole pie. And it's only going to grow. And independent artists get a piece of this. Why? Because let's say you have a song from Green Day or Adele. Because they're major artists, these are major songs, the licensing fee can be astronomical. But I read this through going through these classes and learning. Independent artists, music supervisors, if you know how to get in contact with them and if it all goes right, they do want to work with independent artists. Why? Because the fees aren't going to be as high. And if you're consistent, if you develop great relationships, you can make great money off putting your songs in movies, licensing to commercials, advertising, and it's a great new source of revenue. Synchronization in music is when a musical composition is paired with a moving picture. That could be television, radio. Let's say it's a digital trailer. It could be, a video podcast, anything that is synced to a moving picture in some dramatic form. In order to gain the right to use the song, in order to gain the right to use a song for using this in a visual medium, you need to require a sync license. A license, it gives you permission to use a song, and like I said, it's a great way for up-and-coming artists to create a bigger audience for the music and to target a new source of revenue. If you get your song in a prominent placement, you may build your audience. That can build up your social media following in an organic way, and also it could always just getting you involved with new producers, maybe get you involved with a record label, and that's the best part about it. So moving on from that, what are we going to talk about? Well, basically we covered everything we wanted to say. We talked about the RIAA, how music is growing, music industry revenues is growing, and it's only going to keep growing, which is great. That means that more people are going to get involved, more people can get involved. The barrier to entry for the music industry has been erased in the last 20 years. More people can make songs at home. They can mix at home. And also, they could get in contact with more people than ever before. What I want to talk about next was the beauty of outsourcing and how that could really help you alleviate clutter. When I first started releasing music in early 2021, I felt that I had so much pressure on myself. I realized, I had to write, produce, mix and master everything. I just wanted to try it. And from there, I could always move on. And I also realized at times that can affect the quality of the song. It affects me getting these tasks done. It was also affecting my mental health. I was getting so stressed out because then I realized, why do I have to do this all on my own? I don't. So what? If you invest some money in outsourcing, you work with new people, which can lead to great relationships. One, you're spending money, but it gives you more time to hone in on a couple of things, like focusing just on songwriting and production. You let someone else mix and master, even just mixing, someone else masters. You get a new set of ears on it, which is so important. I'm realizing that's so crucial. Getting a new set of ears, if you can afford to invest a little, is great because it means that it will lead to a higher quality of the song. The importance of outsourcing. Some services I used this year, which really helped me speed up my process of releasing my songs, getting everything done, was services like Fiverr and Upwork. Now, these sites are for freelancers. You could not just be a musician. You could be a filmmaker. You could be a scriptwriter. You could be a content creator. You could be a copywriter. You could be a marketer. These two sites I found last year, and I've used Fiverr almost exclusively because I found some artists on there that were graphic designers, and I've been working with them through 7 releases this year. What these sites are, they allow freelancers and creatives to advertise their services. You could be someone who sells your services. Let's say you are a music producer. You make a profile. You put out your services out there where I will create and produce a song for you. And it will lead to a mixed down stereo track. $100 a song. You could get in contact with people from all over the world. And you get to choose, let's say, where you want to interact. You just want to work with people in the United States. You just want to work with people in Germany, Australia, Nigeria. You get to pick and choose where and who you work with. Or you could just go internationally. You also get to pay for services. You get to get in contact with other industry creatives and professionals and have them, let's say, make cover arts for your songs. You want to find a video editor. You want to find a mastering engineer. Fiverr and Upwork are great websites where you get in contact with these people. Upwork also, I tried using them as well. Both of them, like I said, you can make a significant side income off of advertising your services and making money off that. That's the best part about it. That's what I learned was great, because once I learned to outsource, once I just kind of like let go a little bit, yeah, you invest some money, but then it alleviated so much stress. And I was able to, let's say, focus on songwriting and production. That's what I'm going to be doing for my next few releases, focusing on just investing in outsourcing, working with different people. Outsourcing for photography, video editing, graphic design, and even mastering is what I'm currently doing. I'll eventually outsource for mixing too, but small steps is great. You just start off with what you can invest in right away to outsourcing, and it will alleviate some stress, which I highly recommend. So, another great thing, I gotta stop saying another great thing, but going through all my notes, what I dived into again this year, relearning about was the royalty rates for streaming services. Now, it could help you a lot if you're an independent artist and you want to learn, well, okay, what am I getting paid from Spotify and Apple Music? The great thing about this is it's almost like a catch-22. When you're signed to a major label, when you're a huge artist, you get more streams. You get millions and millions and millions of streams. There was a recent article that came out that it may have been dethroned by either Kanye or Drake because, of course, they came out with huge monumental albums that brought in huge numbers. But a couple weeks ago, Justin Bieber became the #1 stream artist on Spotify. That may have been dethroned, like I said. But when you're a major artist, you're going to get a lot of streams. But does that mean that a major label artist gets the biggest royalty compared to, let's say, an independent artist that owns their own catalog? Maybe, maybe not. See, when you're an independent artist, you're not going to have a huge audience, but you'll get paid more per million of streams if you own the recording, you produce and wrote it on your own, than, let's say, Justin Bieber or Drake. Of course, it depends on the deal. It all depends on the individual deal with the record label. But if you find a way to amass millions of fans and millions of streams, and you wrote and produced that song, you're the sole writer, the sole producer, and if you own the master recording, that's the biggest thing. If you are your own record label and you own the master recording, you get a huge chunk of that pie, a huge chunk of the revenue. Because even if the royalty rates, depending on what that is, with Spotify and Apple Music, there is a difference. So, Spotify streaming royalty rate. The royalty rate for Spotify is about 0.004 of a penny to the high end of 0.007 of a penny. On average, it's more about toward half a penny per stream. And it depends on the user that streamed that song on Spotify. If it's a premium account, you get more. If it's through ad-supported, a freemium account, it may be less. So that's all broken down. You can find that in, let's say, your digital distribution account like DistroKid. It goes through all these reports, which is great. It gives you step-by-step breakdown of the services. When it comes to royalty rates for other services, Tidal, I believe, is the highest paid right now. Tidal, not as popular as Spotify at the moment or Apple Music, but Tidal pays over a penny per stream, which is amazing. And there's more of a push in the industry to get higher royalty rates. Apple Music, there's a new report that came out in the summer of 2021 that said that they are paying around a penny per stream. Now, that could be disputed. I'm not exactly sure, but they do pay more than Spotify. I was even checking in my own royalty statements, and they pay at least about 0.008 of a penny. So they pay almost double the amount of Spotify. So really, when it comes to streaming services, you don't have to focus on, let's say, you're promoting too much either or. Just get your music out there, and whoever streams, wherever they stream it, you will get paid by that. Spotify may pay less, Apple Music may pay more, but it's important to know about the different royalty rates, because then you know where you're getting paid, and you can check your account to see how it's all broken down. So another thing that I used, that I invested into, it's a monthly cost that helped get my music more easily in front of everyone, where they could pick and choose their service, is using a smart link or a smart URL. I stress this enough. You don't have to. You could also just put, let's say you want to focus on one streaming service, you put your Spotify song in your bio or your Apple Music song in your bio. As long as you're making use of your bios on Instagram and you're doing swipe ups if you can, that is all that matters. But if you want to try and speed that process up and give your listeners more options, going to services right away, you would use a smart URL. So there's different services you could use, like smarturl.com. You could use Linkfire, which is used by major labels, and you could also use Linktree. I've used both Linktree and Linkfire. I use both at the moment. Switched over to Linktree, and we're going to talk about what these services do and what they are. So basically, you could pay between $5 to $10 a month. Linkfire, you pay $10 a month, and you could pay $50 a month if you want to do pre-release campaigns. You pay per month, and you set up these hyperlinks, these smart links. So what you do is you copy and paste your song on each service, and you put this in one landing page. So you click this link. What it does is it puts your services all on one page. So if someone goes to your bio, you see a new song out, and you click that link, what will pop up is automatic universal links that go right to Spotify, right to Apple Music, right to YouTube, right to iTunes, and whatever you choose. And this is great because it eliminates the second guessing. It eliminates them trying to find you, especially if you're new and up and coming, just like me. You know, who knows if anyone cares? You have to do the marketing. You have to do the advertising because you're fighting for people's attention. You're fighting for people's attention. There's so many options, and that's okay. So you have to find a way to make it easier for the end user to get to your music on all services. And using these links is a great help because once you sign up for this, you have all your links in one place. I recently moved over to Linktree. Shout out Linkfire, both great services, but I want to experiment, and that's what I'm doing right now, just experimenting with different services, what works best. With Linktree, you sign up $6 a month, and you don't just have your streaming links, you could also put whatever links you want, let's say lyric videos, music videos. I put up my Spotify, I put up my Apple Music in this link, and I put up my 2 lyric videos, my debut music video, and I also put on my website. So you could put all this in one spot, and it's essential if you want to try and just speed up that process, getting people to see all your stuff in one shot. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. What we talked about today was we talked about royalties for songwriters, how to sign up with a PRO, how NFTs are making their impact in the music industry. We talked about the RIAA mid-year report and how the music industry is growing, which is amazing. After last year, we are back in full swing and double-digit growth. The industry is in an upswing, and we are growing faster than ever, which is amazing. And we also talked about how to sign up for publishing, synchronization in music, some copyright terms in music, and we also talked about how to build your home studio and just different tools that independent musicians and artists can use to help streamline the process and to help get the music out there faster and how to connect with listeners and followers in a more easier way. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time.